So how do we get past, catchphrases like community policing into having a real proactive police force? And I think that there are some specific changes that we can do. Number one, we can bring the police officers back into the neighborhood association meetings. Under the current administration, they've gone into the district meetings, and I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think we want to have our police in our neighborhood meetings. Number two, I think we want to look at how we incentivize people. So if you look at the way that we give out off-duty jobs, we need to give those jobs to the people who are working at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night to encourage people to want to wear the uniform.
What I will do, and I have done in the past, is continue to work with setting up block watches to create eyes on the streets from your own neighbors, taking the control ourselves so that we can help the police do what they need to do a better job. The other aspect is we are going to need to provide security help for our residents. The police will come out and go into your home and do a security check. I will facilitate that and encourage that and make that more possible and easier to happen. You need to get solid doors, you need to secure your premises, you need to make sure your front door is locked, and lastly, you need to consider having a burglar alarm. And that's how you protect your premises.
So having more patrols and bike patrols and just having our police more visible will help that. I don't know if you've seen it, but graffiti's been on the rise, and if we have police officers not guarding construction sites, but actually doing their off-duty work, patrolling the streets, that would make a much better place for downtown.
We need to roll the semi-autonomous agencies back into the city, the incinerator authority, the parking authority, and the NUA, to reduce on all the redundancies from payroll to human resources and down. We need to adopt Citizens Campaign, which takes a no-blame approach, has a wonderful program called Best Price Insurance Practices. They turn the insurance procurement process into a contract with brokers rather than brokers be paid by the insurance company that gets a contract. And in turn, they have a contract with the city, and by having a contract with the city, they get paid a flat amount, and it forces them into our pay-to-play reform ordinances to protect Jersey City and provide competitive pricing for insurance and reduces insurance costs.
Obviously, we want to merge the Jersey City Incinerator Authority back into the Department of Public Works and the Parking Authority back into the police. The mayor commissioned an independent study that said that they would save us millions of dollars every year. So to me, that's a no-brainer. I think we also need to look at, between the school board and the city, we have over $1 billion in spending every year. There must be opportunities for shared purchasing and prices to go down. And lastly, and I think this is kind of directionally around a budget. When you think about a budget, that's the #1 job of the city council. It's $500 million. And so the city council doesn't think about budget in a long-term way. They barely pass it on time every year. And I think if we can't pass a budget on time, if the elected members can't pass a budget on time, they shouldn't be taking home a paycheck. No budget, no pay.
The elephant in the room is our debt service. Our debt service from 2010 to 2013 has grown over $18 million. And when we are just paying interest on debt, that takes away money from other sorts of programs like underage drinking and other things. The aid to the museum. We used to have a museum down here in Jersey City. So I'm very concerned about things like that and the benefits that we give. We need to make sure that our employees are paying like the private sector does for their benefits. There was a study that talked about consolidation of agencies, but at the State of the City address, Mayor Healy said, they looked into it and there'd be absolutely no cost savings. So Dan, that's not talking with one voice, because Mayor Healy said there'd be no cost savings, though I think all of us up here know that there would be.
I'm not Mayor Healy. I'm sorry. I will vote every time to consolidate city services. I will vote to share services. That's something we've been talking about for a long time. I will vote to improve the procurement process throughout Jersey City, putting sunshine and competitive to the process. It's very simple. We have many ways we can cut redundancies. The #1 example, every time you go to a city council meeting, the agenda is printed on one side of the paper, printed on 2 sides, and you bring that and roll that all across Jersey City. It's not about this long drawn-out process. We need to do things now, and we can do things now, and I will do things now.
we ought to make sure that we're getting back for the residents what was promised. And the last time we had oversight, or supposed oversight, was under Mariano Vega, and I think we all know that he was arrested and convicted of bribery. So we absolutely must be doing oversight of the abatement process. Number two, the city is addicted to abatements, and the reason why they're addicted to abatements is because they're stealing money from the school system. So they actually get more money when they do an abatement. And that is, so we need to, that's a problem, and what we need to do is take the money that should be going to the school system and put it aside and donate it to education. And then lastly, in terms of where we need it, yes, we need to do abatements in areas that make sense. If you give abatements downtown all on the waterfront, then you're not going to have development and elsewhere.
No more waterfront tax abatements. It's very simple. You put it where the area, the city needs development. Very simple. When you do blight studies, we've got to do a true blight study and evaluate the needs of a community and neighborhood. You do that, the power to give tax abatements comes through redevelopment plans. It's not separate and distinct. So when you're considering an area in need of redevelopment, you need to look at the long-term effects. You need to look at how you're going to make a community better and roll it through, and is it worth giving up our tax dollars for that purpose?
No more tax abatements for downtown Ward E. Frankly, they're just simply not needed downtown anymore. And sorry, the empty lot next to the pass station at Grove Street is not a blighted area. That is prime real estate, folks. And they are going to be building luxury rentals and luxury condominiums, not for you and me, but for Wall Street bankers. Now, where do we need development? We need development in Ward F. We need development in Bergen Lafayette and Greenville. We need development in Journal Square. They tore everything down and they didn't build anything.
My only concern with public schools and public charter schools is one, are they educating our children? And I think for too long, under the leadership of Dr. Epps, we had 32 out of 37 failing schools, and to me that's not acceptable. I'm thankful that Dr. Lyles is in place and she's starting to steer that ship in the right direction. It's not the responsibility of the City Council to manage the turnaround of the schools, but we can support them. So how can we support them? Well, number one, we know that we don't have enough middle schools and high schools downtown, and that is because we don't have building codes that make sense in an urban environment. So I will lobby Trenton to have building codes that make sense in an urban environment. Number two, we have to talk about the abatements. Again, they rob the school system. So let's put aside the money that we're stealing from the school system and put it towards recreation and other opportunities to keep schools open longer.
But both my children attend the public schools, and the schools they attend are very good. This school, MS4, is an outstanding school. So there's a lot of fear-mongering trying to scare people about our schools for political purposes. I stand by the schools. Both my kids get a great education. Now, what we can do to help the schools on the City Council is we can stop rezoning church facilities that are come offline, that are closing, church schools and other buildings, and don't rezone them for luxury condos, rezone them and let them stay as educational purposes. They're already not in the tax rolls. We need to put them in the hands of the public school system so we can expand the facilities downtown Jersey City. I'm also very concerned because the whole council was pretty darn silent in County Prep, our stellar school downtown. It's a countywide magnet school, is being moved out of downtown.
Nothing pissed me off more than Dr. Epps with his $240,000 salary and all his perks and everything. So luckily they've taken steps, thankfully, to Stephen Fulop to sort of change the city school board and bring in Dr. Lyles. I think it's a little bit too soon to sort of judge the results of this yet because it's still very much in progress. But I do think we need things like teacher evaluations. We need to really sort of figure out where the spending's going because the spending for schools is $660 million. And that only serves about 28,000 students. The whole city budget is $465 million. So where's all this money going?
I'd just like to clarify a comment that I made about the abatement money. I'm not saying that we give that money directly to the school system. I'm saying that we use it to support the school system. So we've cut the recreation department for the past few years. So why don't we put more money into the recreation department? Why don't we do more after-school programs?
There are other options. We do have very good charter schools. And the thing is, with charter schools, they're held up to a higher standard. And when they fail, the state shuts them down. So why doesn't that happen with failing schools in the public school system? And also, I was at a Board of Ed meeting. Dr. Lyles said the money follows the kids, but that's not always the case because Learning Community Charter School, they're having a fundraiser, and they're saying that they lose out on about $7,000 per child.
There's been a lot of change happening, and for the most part, it's good. I was there. I recruited Carol Lester, who was the first school board candidate in memory that won an election without the endorsement of the JCA. And that's before Team Fulk got involved. I could help her get up to speed. Team Fulk got behind her, and they got her elected. She was the star. I also worked with Vidya Gangigan, a parent, a public school parent with 4 kids in the school. Team Fulk didn't want her the first year. I didn't care. I worked with her. I helped get her up to speed. And then next year, she won with Team Fulk's support. I have no problem working with Team Fulk or Mayor Healy to get the right thing done for Jersey City.
I didn't decide to be on his ticket because I want to be some type of rubber stamp. I mean, that's just ludicrous. It's my name and my vote. I think the reason why I joined his ticket was because we talked about policy, we talked about ideas, and I believe in the vision that he has for the city. So I think the number of times that we disagree isn't going to be that high. The same way that I'm sure that Dan Levin joined Mayor Healy's ticket because he believes in his ideas and his vision for Jersey City.
I've spoken out numerous times over the years against Jerry Healy's policies. I agree with him on the 6th Street embankment. He's 150% behind securing that for Jersey City to create park and open space. I led the effort to create the beautiful plaza at Grove Street, which is supported by Jerry Healy, and we created a wonderful public space for our city. And I worked with Steve Fulop. I created and developed with my friend Aaron down here the pay-to-play ordinances, both the redevelopment and contracting pay-to-play. We created and brought them. Steve Fulop helped get them through the city council. I've worked with Steve Fulop. I can work with anyone because that's where I come from. I will work with anyone to get the job done.
Affordable housing is very important, and there have been agreements in some tax abatements for developers. Originally, like the Powerhouse Arts District, they were supposed to have a certain set amount of housing for artists to actually use, a work-live arrangement. And other buildings were supposed to have a certain quantity of affordable housing. And then, what happens is, the council gives the go-ahead, and then they build the project, and then the developers come back crying, oh my, this doesn't make economic sense. In reality, they don't want the affordable housing in their building because they don't want people of lower income means mingling with the Wall Street bankers. That's basically what it's all about. And they do, and then they say they make a donation to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That donation is chump change. These guys, they're just getting away with murder, and this is why we need to end the practice of tax abatements down.
No, we don't move affordable housing off-site. We keep it on-site. We don't let them contribute to a fund to build elsewhere. The argument is you can build more where land is cheaper. Well, we need to build our community. I believe it should stay in our community.
One of the most problematic votes on the city council over the last year to me is when they vote continuously to not build affordable housing in Ward E. They say, let's move it off. And what that does is it creates a divide and a separation. And Jersey City has a legacy of us against them. And that's not how we want to be. That's not the city that we want to be. And so we need to look at all of our residents and how can we bring everyone up.
I'm running just because I'm a concerned citizen. That's the only reason I'm running. We've got big issues here in Jersey City, and we don't have enough good people getting involved, volunteering and trying to make a difference. And finally, I got so fed up and upset. Why doesn't somebody do anything? Why doesn't somebody do anything? Why is it the same old, same old? And why are my taxes just going through the roof and nothing's happening? So I looked in the mirror, and that person turns out is me. And I've done a lot for a community with Grace Church Van Dwarfs, where I've been a member since 2005. I've been on their board of directors, which is like the city council of the church. And so, I do think I have a lot to offer. I have a 20-year business experience, I have a master's degree from NYU, and I just want to make a difference. Thank you very much.
Fletcher.
I think that May 14th is an exciting day, and I'm excited to be running for city council. I'm excited because of the possibilities that we have. I think it's attainable. And some of the stuff, it seems little, but it's quality of life. I'm excited because I know with the right team in place that my son can come home from soccer practice and his legs aren't going to be beat up with bruises from the rocks that are in the ground. I'm excited because I know that when my neighbor is pushing her stroller across the street, she won't have to fear for her life anymore because a car is going to plow her over. I know that these things are attainable and possible, and I'm excited to get the opportunity to try and change that for you guys. I would ask that you give me your consideration on May 14th, but most importantly, that you go out to vote.
I've been very fortunate to be involved in a lot of initiatives for a long time in downtown Jersey City and Jersey City as a whole. I care about what happens next. As your councilman, I will work to bring a more sustainable and vibrant future to downtown. We need to increase sustainability. We need to look at ways to mitigate stormwater going into our sewers so they don't back up in people's homes. We need to improve entertainment ordinance and create the vibrancy that we used to have in downtown with 111 First Street, the Jersey City Museum, which have since moved out of town, moved out, knocked down, on. I will further sensible spending and good government techniques and how we can improve our government practices, reforms, best practice insurance, more pay-to-play reforms to get them done. And I will stand behind the 6th Street embankment, work hand in hand to make that a realization. I know I've done it because I've done it before. Please vote for me.
Thank you.
Running Dan Levin, May 14th.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, candidates. We're very grateful. We really are. Ladies and gentlemen, your candidates for Ward 8. Don't forget to vote. May 14th. Again, very grateful to Civic JC, and of course DCNA.